Simple Tales presents the Irish folklore tale, The Pooka and the Summer Wind. Long ago, on the rolling green hills of Western Ireland, there stood a quiet village called Briar Glen. The people there lived simple lives. They farmed the rocky earth, raised sheep along the cliffs, and gathered each evening beside peat fires while the cold Atlantic winds howled outside their cottages. But the villagers feared one thing above all else: the Pooka. Some said the creature appeared as a black horse with burning golden eyes. Others swore it took the shape of a tall goat, or a shadow with a crooked grin lurking beside lonely roads at dusk. The old folk warned children never to wander the hills after sunset, for the Pooka loves tricks, they would whisper, and those who follow its voice may never return the same. Yet despite all the fearful stories, there was one strange thing the villagers could never explain. Every summer, just before the harvest moon, a warm wind would sweep across Briar Glen for a single night. The bitter sea fog would vanish, flowers would bloom brighter by morning, sick animals often recovered, and for those few hours, even the oldest hearts felt young again. The villagers called it the summer wind. No one knew where it came from.
In the village lived a boy named Eamon. Unlike the others, Eamon did not fear the old stories. He spent his days wandering the hills with his sheep, listening to birdsong and watching clouds drift above the cliffs. He often asked questions the elders disliked. "If the Pooka is evil," he once asked an old fisherman, "then why does the summer wind always follow its laughter?"
The fisherman nearly dropped his pipe. "Because trouble often arrives smiling," the old man muttered.
But Eamon remained curious. One evening near midsummer, while searching for a lost lamb among the hills, Eamon heard laughter echoing through the mist. Not cruel laughter, playful laughter. Then came the sound of hooves racing across the grass. Out from the fog emerged a great black horse with tangled silver mane and glowing amber eyes. The Pooka. The creature circled the boy once before stopping beside him. "You are either very brave," the Pooka said, "or very foolish." Its voice sounded strangely human. Eamon swallowed hard, but stood his ground. "Perhaps both," he answered. To his surprise, the creature laughed warmly. The Pooka led Eamon deep into the hills, where few villagers ever dared to go. They crossed hidden streams and moonlit fields, until they reached a circle of ancient standing stones overlooking the sea. There, the air felt different, warmer, alive. Wildflowers swayed, though no wind touched them. The Pooka gazed toward the horizon quietly. Long ago, it said, these hills were filled with music. Humans and spirits shared the land together. But fear grows easily in human hearts. Eamon listened silently. The villagers forgot that not all wild things are wicked, the creature continued. So they turned stories into warnings, warnings into fear, and fear into hatred. Then why stay here? Eamon asked. The Pooka smiled sadly. Because someone must still carry the summer wind. At that moment, the creature rose upon the hilltop. The silver mane along its neck shimmered beneath the moonlight, and suddenly warm winds swept across the valley below. The grass rippled like emerald waves. Flowers opened in the darkness. The cold mist dissolved into the night sky. Eamon watched in wonder. The summer wind had never been magic from the heavens. It had always come from the Pooka. But before dawn, several villagers climbed the hills searching for Eamon. When they saw the boy standing beside the dark creature, terror spread among them. "The Pooka has bewitched him," one shouted. Men carrying lanterns and iron tools rushed forward. The Pooka stepped back silently. For the first time, Eamon saw sorrow in its glowing eyes. "I should go," the creature whispered. But the frightened villagers hurled stones and curses toward the hilltop. The winds began to fade. The warmth vanished from the air. Then, suddenly, the Pooka gave one final cry that echoed across the cliffs like distant thunder, and disappeared into the mist. That year, the summer harvest failed. Cold rains drowned the crops. Livestock grew sick. The flowers upon the hills never bloomed as brightly again. And though the villagers tried to forget what had happened, the valley slowly became quieter with each passing year. Many years later, Eamon had grown into an old shepherd himself. Yet every midsummer evening, he climbed alone to the standing stones overlooking the sea. The villagers often mocked him for it. But one particularly harsh summer, when drought cracked the earth and no rain had fallen for weeks, Eamon returned once more to the hilltop. There, standing silently beneath the moonlight, waited the Pooka. Older somehow, and sadder. "You came back," Eamon whispered. "I never truly left," the creature replied. The old shepherd lowered his head. "They were afraid." "Yes," said the Pooka gently. "Humans often destroy what they fear before they try to understand it." For a long while, neither spoke. Then Eamon stepped aside and opened his arms toward the valley below. "The hills still remember you," he said softly. The Pooka looked toward Briar Glen one final time. Then it lifted its head toward the night sky. Warm winds burst across the cliffs once more. The scent of wildflowers filled the air. Clouds parted above the valley. Far below, the sleeping village stirred as cool summer rain finally began to fall upon the thirsty earth. And from that night onward, the people of Briar Glen no longer spoke of the Pooka as a monster. Instead, they told stories of the wild spirit who carried the summer wind across the hills of Ireland. And so the people of Briar Glen learned that not everything wild is wicked. Sometimes the things we fear most are simply the things we do not understand. For kindness fades when hearts close themselves in fear. But wonder returns to those willing to listen to the wind beyond the hills. And even now, on warm summer nights across the green fields of Ireland, some say the Pooka still rides beneath the moonlight, carrying the ancient winds to those who have not forgotten how to see magic in the world.